Welcome back from the previous city cycling tour. This time, we are starting inside a residential area for a city walk. Same old rules, we'll just talk about whatever we see. This is a residential compound for a certain work unit, built roughly 25 years ago. It looks quite dated now, if not completely worn out. Although many buildings are right next to each other or belong to the same complex, they weren't necessarily built at the same time. You can see that the heating and gas pipes were added later, running right over our heads. This residential building faces the street. The first floor consists of shop fronts. You can take a look at the various stores and the general vibe and appearance of the people here. In different parts of the city, you can clearly feel that the crowds are different. People from different walks of life live in different areas and visit different shops. Their clothing, general outlook, and even their accents, they all vary. The ground here is clearly uneven with quite a lot of damage. When walking on the pavement, you'll inevitably see cars parked in a bit of a mess. You have to constantly adjust and find your own way through, especially if you aren't familiar with the area. The place we just saw seems to be a shop that made its name selling donkey meat 火烧. It's probably been around for 20 years or so, maybe even longer. They've got signs out front showing they were featured on some CCTV program to prove their influence. I don't know about others, but personally, I don't buy into that. Even if it's CCTV, it doesn't represent any kind of authority or credibility. CCTV here, what I mean is China Central Television. It's only a few steps from the shop front to the roadside, but it feels like we'll have to cross 3 layers of parked cars. Now we are crossing the street to the Military Academy Square on the other side. Right in front of us, across the road, is something that looks like a reviewing stand. I'm not quite sure how it's actually used though. It's fake. It's just a reproduction. Usually, these grey bricks are a sign of faux antique style. Mind you, it's not even that old. Even if the original military academy had survived, it would barely be 100 years old, dating back to the Republic of China era. In this area, everything you see, absolutely everything, was built recently. It used to be just farmland here. This spot where the reviewing stand sits were once occupied by houses, single-story ones. Of course, they were also made of grey brick. Thinking about it now, I'm starting to wonder if those old houses might have actually been surviving buildings from the original military academy. My memory is too hazy to be sure. I can't even say for certain if they were truly grey brick anymore. I just had a quick look, and it is indeed a reviewing stand. It even claims to have been officially announced back in 1993. There was no such thing here in 93. These things didn't appear until at least after the year 2000. Back then, the ground here was about 2 meters higher than it is now. You had to run up a massive slope to get here. So, as you can all see, anything and everything goes on in the square now. It's basically a paradise for the elderly. Whether they are just a lot of seniors living around here, or if the square itself draws them in, is hard for me to say. But with so many elderly people, it does start to feel a bit gloomy or stagnant. Plus, there are several hospitals nearby. Three. Three hospitals, in fact. And one of them is a psychiatric hospital. I'm not sure if patients come out for a stroll, but you'll at least see people who are clearly in recovery. I wouldn't call them patients exactly, but you know what I mean. Walking through these archway-like walls, they seem to be recording historical events and figures. When I was a kid, I'd read them very seriously and with great respect. Now, I couldn't care less, because most of it might not even be true. Even with so-called historical research, I'm skeptical about the credibility of the research itself. The history we were fed growing up was mostly just for passing exams. I'm not getting mixed up in anything beyond that. These groups doing fitness, I don't mean hitting the gym or lifting weights. I mean those sessions where they play recorded instructions and music. They follow along with some exercises, though you can't really call it a workout. The movements aren't that intense. It's just elderly folk loosening up their arms and legs. Most people here are probably not in the best of health, but then again, they've reached that age. It's overcast today, and a bit of drizzle will start drifting down soon. To be honest, it's not as clean and bright as it appears in the video. It's more of a dull grey. The whole city has this kind of vibe. I used to wonder if it was caused by the people's lack of civility, but later I felt that's probably not it. It's likely just the geography and climate of this land. It's never going to be lush or crystal clear. It's just naturally dusty and gritty. These people running in marching uniforms must be from a local military unit or the fire service. I'll probably run into some of them buying things later when I head to the supermarket for a Coke. Today's weather is actually alright for a run. Even though it's overcast, it doesn't feel that dirty. It reminds me of the smog 10 years ago. That was truly terrifying. It was like yellow dust falling from the sky. That was so extreme that you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, even during the day. But it wasn't actual dust. It was much finer than that. That was haze. Just thick smoke suspended in the air. Of course, there's still smoke now. It's just not as severe as it was back then. But just because it isn't severe doesn't mean we should ignore it. Do your best to protect yourself. We are still in the square for now. In a moment, we'll head out through a side gate on the right, pass through a night market, and go check out a pet market. After that, we'll loop back around to the left side of the square and head to the underground supermarket for a Coke. This is my usual route when I come here. I love looking at little animals. Later on, once there's an opportunity, I'll take you guys to see what the public toilets inside are like. When I say opportunity, I obviously mean I'll take you in when nobody else in there. I'll show you everything that's worth seeing. The public toilets here are free of charge. We are entering the Military Academy food street now, but I'll save that for the next episode. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments.